is Rory Deschart of RE Design Products, and you're listening to the XJ Talk Show.
This is Courtney Holland with the Ventura County Off-Road Show, listening to the XJ Talk Show.
I pray the Hey, it's Matt Adair with Petty Cash Racing. Tune into the XJ Talk Show to find out more about our team and the Jeep we all love.
Hey guys, it's Motorroy. Just wanted to let you know that we'll be starting the show here in a minute. Also want to let you know that tonight's show was actually recorded yesterday. Josh, Northwest 99XJ, had a function to attend tonight, a graduation, I believe. And we got on the microphones and recorded the show last night. So we'll be playing that here in the next couple of minutes, maybe less. And it is a new show. It's not a repeat. It's only a repeat to Josh and I when we hear it the second time. Now, he said he was going to be watching the show at the graduation when I mentioned, hey, you could actually watch the show at the graduation since we're going to be broadcasting it live on Thursday. He says, I'm going to do that. I said, nah, you better not. You'll get yourself in trouble. So I guess we'll find out next week if he got himself in trouble at the graduation or not. So I hope you don't mind. Hope you understand that things come up like this from time to time. And this is our first time recording the video the night before or prior to the Thursday show. But we wanted to continue with the Thursday at 10 p.m. Just because that's what we preach to you guys, to show up for the live show. So this is almost live. It's so fresh that you could actually maybe even consider it live or near live, or what is it? Recently live. It's a zombie show. All right, so we'll get started here in a minute.
Make sure the proper lights are flashing.
That's video audio is going and standalone audio rolling. Here we go.
The XJ Talk Show is for entertainment purposes only. Any advice or information provided on this show should be verified by alternative sources prior to making any changes or modifications to your vehicle. We are not experts, just people that enjoy the Jeep hobby and don't mind talking endlessly about it. P.S. We love you.
This just in to the XJ Talk Show news desk. Gay man who tried to poison lesbian neighbors with slug pellets over three-legged cat feud walks free. For the full story, stay tuned till after the show.
Hey, Jeepers, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or your MP3 player. Get a free audio download and a 30-day free trial over at www.audibletrial.com/XJ Talk Show.
Welcome to the XJ Talk Show. You are listening to the Jeep Cherokee Premier Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Tony and Josh. Take it away, boys.
Hey, it's episode 132. I'm excited, but then again, I'm always excited, even for nap time, Josh.
Well, hey, that's good. Just make sure you don't stand up in front of the camera.
It's a little sleepy right now, so we're okay. Hey, you know me as Motorroy on xjtalk.com, and you know me as that here as, and also as Tony My co-host, that's Yash, as we sometimes call him.
Yes, I am Yash, otherwise known as Josh, or NW99XJ, or Northwest 99XJ, over at xjtalk.com.
And if you don't remember what the hell we're doing here, we're here to tell you about all kinds of Jeep Cherokee stuff. And, the XJ, the real Cherokee, none of that 2014 KL crap.
Oh, boy. Yeah, no, we do a fair amount of bashing of that, as well as the Renegade, and we'll get into some of that. Maybe another show.
Another show? Oh, no.
Well, be this show, maybe just not this episode.
Okay, I can live with that.
There will be plenty of bashing of the new Jeeps in due time.
Well, and we do it lovingly. We like to give it's our brothers and our sisters. You always got to pick on your brothers and sisters. So
just sibling rivalry.
It's a fun thing to do. Also, too, it's damn ugly. It doesn't look like a Jeep. It shouldn't have the Jeep name, but I digress. So anyway, this is the XJ Talk Show, a podcast about Jeep Cherokees, off-roading, and the tech that you need to get you there and back. One of the things we want to make sure you understand is the 2014 won't do that for you. Anyway, we're here to promote the web's most premier website for all that is the Jeep Cherokee, xjtalk.com. And this won't make sense after that other stuff. The friendliest and most helpful Jeep site on the web. xjtalk.com encourages and answers all questions and concerns for the first-time XJ owners typically have without any of the flaming or criticism, all while giving you the best, most in-depth articles and write-ups for the repairs, modifications that you take your XJ Talk to the next level. Now get ready. It's the XJ Talk Show, and it starts right now.
First week in Jeep.
Well, Chrysler is getting its bags probed. Well, they're airbags anyways, or the recall of a whole lot of them to be exact. U.S. safety regulators are investigating as to whether a recall to fix airbags on nearly 750,000, that's million with a B, folks, Chrysler SUVs is working properly or not. The company recalled older model Jeep Grand Cherokees and Liberties in 2012 because the airbags could, quote, suddenly inflate without a crash, potentially causing injuries. Look, people, airbags don't inflate. No, you inflate a balloon or an air mattress or those super cool, awesome water wing thingies that you need to go swimming in the deep end of the pool. No? Is that just me? Okay. Well, anyways, no, airbags don't inflate. They go the F off. Explode even. In fact, the airbag deployment cartridges and SRS systems contain an explosive chemical, sodium azide. This is the same chemical used in making solid rocket propellants. That's right, that fluffy pillowcase of death that's been inflated with the force of a second-stage rocket booster right towards your otherwise lovely face is being propelled by a rocket fuel. So, what did Chrysler do to prevent people's faces from being rearranged by these rogue airbags? They installed a fancy little electrical filter to eliminate electrical spikes on airbag circuits and thought that would solve the problem. But since the recall, the company has received 6 reports of airbags inflating without a crash on SUVs that even had the airbag or had the recall repair done. In some incidents, the airbag warning lights and chimes were reported coming on just seconds prior to the deployments. Other cases occurred without any warnings whatsoever. Now, no fatalities were reported, but owners did say there were some cuts and burns according to documents at least posted Monday on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website. The safety agency says it's investigating whether the recall is working. Chrysler says it's cooperating but hasn't determined whether the recall is actually working or not and will continue to work in the long run. Meanwhile, if you've lent Grandma your Jeep over the weekend, you might want to get it back, just in case during her weekly high-speed race to cash in those prune juice coupons, the airbag deploys and she goes careening into a daycare. If you're wondering if your Jeep, or whose ever Jeep that was that Grandma is now eluding the police in, is affected in this recall, look no further than right here. I got your information for you. The investigation affects Liberties from the 2002 and 2003 model years and Grand Cherokees from 2002 to 2004. Now, in more upbeat news, record Jeep sales drive U.S. sales up in 17% in May. Now, the Chrysler Group LLC continued its impressive sales streak to 50 straight months of year-over-year sales gains in May. The Auburn Hills-based automaker today reported U.S. sales of 194,421 units, a 17% increase compared with sales in May of 2013. And it's the group's best May sale since 2007. The Jeep, Dodge, Ram Truck, and Fiat brands each posted year-over-year sales gains as well in May. Now, compared with the same month, sales a year prior. Now, Jeep led the way with a 58% increase, followed by Ram Truck up 19%. Fiat got an 18% boost, and Dodge is up 3%. And despite Chrysler's big fat belly flop of a 22% drop, Reed Bigland, Chrysler's head of U.S. sales, said, "Our Jeep Sport utility vehicles and Ram pickups continued to do well in May as our dealers reported brisk May sales over 5 weekends and the Memorial Day holiday." Jeep, for a third straight month, recorded its best monthly sales ever, and the first time Jeep's monthly sales have topped 70,000 units in the U.S. alone. The Jeep Compass, Wrangler, and Cherokee each recorded their best sales months ever, while the Jeep Patriot logged its best May sales ever. Now, though the first 5 months of this year, Chrysler U.S. sales are up 13% from the same time a year ago to a roughly 849,000 cars and trucks sold. That's pretty good. I'd say congratulations are in order, despite their best efforts to piss us off with the 2014 Cherokee and 2015 Renegade. Hey guys, if you would like to submit a story to be aired on This Week in Jeep, or have a response to any one of our stories here on This Week in Jeep, you have a show and shine, an off-road show, or other Jeep-related event you'd like to promote, please send an email to newstips@xjtalk.com.
70,000 units. That's amazing.
Now, Jeep, I reported back a few months ago that Jeep is going to be hitting a 1 million unit sales goal here potentially this year, and it looks like they might be on track to do it with a lot of stuff coming out, and of course the release of the 2015 Renegade just right around the corner, and with a massive global sales goal for that alone. Their market for the new 2015 Renegade is just absolutely huge, and they're going to really be promoting global sales of that. I see them hitting that 1 million goal probably by the first quarter of next year at the very latest.
It just boggles my mind. 70,000 units. I mean, I know America is a big place, but could you imagine selling 70,000 of anything, much less something that has thousands, 100,000 parts that, has to be put together by, hardy working robots.
Right.
So anyway, that's pretty impressive. And I don't know about you, Josh, but I feel kind of wrong for mentioning about the KL and the Renegade.
Well, like you kind of alluded to, it's all just a little bit of fun and games. So we will continue to bash, and but it's all just poking fun.
Yeah, and I'm being sarcastic. I don't feel bad at all. Hey, now let's jump over to something more positive. It's our YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, this will make you feel good if you're feeling bad about some Cherokee bashing or some Renegade bashing, as it were. Guys, our list keeps growing and growing every week, and we just love the subscriptions. Keep them coming to make sure you guys are telling a friend. We picked 4 names out of the list in no particular order, and if you've joined the list recently and you haven't heard your name yet, well, just hang tight. We'll get to it eventually. First on the list tonight, John Last.
And then Cage Breach.
And we got Tony here we go. Constantino.
Yeah, Constantino. There you go.
There we go.
And Brian Barkley. And, Josh, I looked at it today. I think we're at 523, but I'm not going to go out on that limb. I'll say we're currently at 522 subscribers. YouTube.com/xjtalk. Be there. You'll see this video and lots others. So we've been doing the videos for a while now, so there's quite a bit you can catch up on.
Absolutely. Hey guys, this part of the XJ Talk Show is brought to you by Audible.com. If you like podcasts, there's a good chance you're going to like audiobooks too, especially if you're busy like Tony and I and don't have time to read all those pesky things with the pages and the words and the letters and things like that. Hey, besides, trying to read a book in traffic is probably going to be bad for your health. So Audible.com has over 150,000 titles to choose from across, virtually any imaginable topic you could think of, from tech to sci-fi, fantasy, and fiction and nonfiction. Yes, they even have some Jeep stuff too, in fact. To get you started, the XJ Talk Show has got you hooked up. Just go to audibletrial.com/XJ Talk Show, and you get instantly 1 free title of your choice. Any book. You want to hear War and Peace? Go for it. It's all you. Well, if you want anything on their website, you get one of them for free just by signing up. After that, well, it's up to you. Now, we got you hooked up. All you got to do is go to audibletrial.com/XJ Talk Show. Who says you can't get nothing for free? Something for free. Well, in any case, you get an audiobook.
For free. Yeah. Go over there and sign up today. And we'd like to hear from you when you sign up and what you think and, what book you got. Don't be sad if it's underwater basket weaving or Shadowbox today, we still love you. So, in a completely manly, spit to the side way.
Oh yeah.
All right, Josh, it's our favorite segment, Chit Chat. That's where we get to talk a lot.
Yeah, so we don't do that enough, do we? So, guys, as you know, I've had an issue with my Jeep lately, where my last wheeling trip out, I sheared the track bar off the unibody, and it was an interesting drive home, nonetheless. And it's been sitting in my garage ever since. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks now, and it's still
I don't know how you
pretty
can stand it. I don't know how you can stand that.
Well, I don't daily drive it anymore, so
still, it's out there. It's wounded. You can't. There could be an emergency. Yosemite or Yosemite could blow at any moment, and you're going to be stuck with the Honda trying to evacuate and kicking yourself, going, "What the hell was I thinking?"
So the Jeep could move. I mean, if the house were to start burning down right this minute, I could get the Jeep out and drive it down the street. I could get it onto a trailer or something like that. And I might actually even do that here very soon. But it seems I've kind of noticed this thing. I was looking back over some previous posts on my build thread and some previous episodes of the XJ Talk Show, and I noticed that I'm kind of in this cycle to where about every 6 months or so I go through this little period where I lose a lot of motivation. And my Jeep is in a state of flux where it doesn't get touched. It kind of gets neglected for a little while, and I kind of seem to be in one of those funks right now, and which is very unfortunate because we've had some just fantastic weather here in the Northwest lately, and it's been some prime wheeling weather, and especially early spring or late spring. The trails are dry. There's still a lot of stuff in bloom. Things aren't dusty yet because there's still a lot of moisture around. It's just perfect wheeling weather, and my Jeep is out of commission. So,
well, I don't know about you, Josh, but having to work on the Jeep all the time kind of discourages me from wanting to go out and do those things, especially whenever you have to go through the, I don't want to say panic, but certainly the, oh crap, now what am I going to do to drive this thing down and get it back home?
That's what ratchet straps and duct tape are for.
Well, I understand that, but I certainly can understand how that would be a demotivator for taking it out.
Well, a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love wheeling, and I've got places to wheel right in my backyard, almost literally. I mean, I've got a buddy who's got some property just about 25 minutes from me, and he's actually building a trail right now that's fairly impressive. I've been out there a couple of times and checking it out. And if you got some acreage and a decent amount of elevation change, I'd highly recommend building yourself a little trail. Having yourself a wheeling spot in your own backyard is certainly definitely be motivation to get out and get things done.
You don't have to go very far to fix the Jeep. You could probably drag the tools over there with a nice golf cart.
Yeah, right. But he's been one of my bigger motivators. To get this thing done. He's constantly hounding me. Get your Jeep done. Get it up here so we can start packing some of this trail down. And but nonetheless, here it sits. I've had a couple of issues, guys. If you run into an issue to where you do something like what I did and you shear your track bar off your unibody. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have a 1-ton over-the-knuckle steering system. My track bar is more of a Panhard bar kit. It's the Panhard bar kit from Rough Stuff Industries, and it's 100% beef, extremely beefy. Quarter wall DOM tubing, 1/4-inch thick steel brackets and stuff like that. Heim joints all around, with the exception of the actual tie rod and the drag link. Those have 1-ton GM tie rod ends on the ends of them. So the rest of it, though, is what I had a problem with, and it's just on the frame side. Now, if you end up shearing off your own track bar, and you have a welder at home, you may run into what I've been having an issue with lately. And that's when I started welding some of that sheet metal, my 240 volt welder likes to burn right through it. Now, I'm not an expert welder, and I'm probably doing things wrong. It very well could be just that. I also don't have a gas shield on mine. It's just flux core. So one of the issues I was having is patching some of the holes that are in the unibody now through just single or double thickness sheet metal. My welder just blows right through it. And I end up creating a larger hole that was there in the first place and have to get very creative in filling that in and grinding it down and filling it back in and grinding it down and all that sort of stuff. It's been a royal pain in my butt getting things prepped enough to where I can start welding onto it. And I think that's part of my issue is the other demotivational side of things is that, with this very powerful welder I have, I almost need a lesser welder to start welding some of the sheet metal back in. Now, when it comes time for me to start welding the 3/16-inch plate that I'm going to be doing to reinforce that area, well, that's when this welder is going to come in very handy. And obviously some better skills would come in handy as well. But, I'm going to just kind of keep trucking along as best as I can.
Yeah, you got to learn. So also, too, I just want to remind everybody, when you say sheet metal, you're talking about the unibody.
I am talking about the unibody.
The thing we call the frame.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So if this was a body-on-frame vehicle, I probably wouldn't have had this problem because, frame is obviously a lot thicker metal and not, several pieces of sheet metal stamped together and held together with some tack welds like the unibody is in the front of a Cherokee right around where the track bar is mounted. So there's a few things that I noticed when diagnosing this and kind of doing research and looking at things, and as I'm cleaning things up and grinding and cutting and all that sort of stuff, that there's a single piece of I'm thinking it's 16 gauge sheet metal that's on the very lowest section of the unibody, right where the factory track bar mounts to. And there's 2 bolts that come down and 2 bolts that go through that hold your track bar mount in place. Now, where on the underside of that, there is just a single piece of sheet metal, and it's about as big as maybe a loaf of bread or so, and it's just held on by a few spot welds. You can actually see the pinch welds where they tacked it on. Now the rough stuff panhard bar mount that I got was basically welded to that and that alone. So all of the shear force with the 33 1250 tires, the Durango steering box, the 1-ton steering, all that force is basically came down to the weakest link, which was the factory welds on that single piece of metal. And that's all that track bar mount was welded to, was just that one piece of sheet metal. It didn't get any penetration past that. Now, if I were to do this all over again, I would have actually drilled holes through my unibody, giving me access to those different layers of metal and being able to get the penetration through all of them. And that would have been able to tie everything together. Whereas how it was just that one mount, with that mount was just welded to that one piece of metal that was only held on by spot welds. And that's where the problem was, is with the area not being reinforced any more than just that there was a lot of movement because the unibody is just sheet metal after all. And, it's like taking a coat hanger and bending it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth so many times, it's going to break. And I think that's pretty much what happened, is those welds got stressed from all the movement. They just broke free. And, well, you had the pictures are up on xjtalk.com where you see my track bar hanging by just a couple of spot welds and some very creative ratchet strapping. So here's my other dilemma, is that I'm in the process of debating whether or not I'm going to rebuild this whole track bar setup to more closely match the drag link length. And for those of you who don't know, it's very important if you're building a custom steering system that you need to match your drag link and your track bar lengths. They need to be as close to the same length as possible. And what this does is it allows both angles or the links to follow along the same axis, resulting in minimized lateral axle movement. So it's what they call bump steer. So as the axle gets bumped from one side or it goes up and down through that cycle of movement, those arms are going to move exactly the same. Whereas if they are different lengths, well, obviously the radius of that travel is going to be different on either one, and that's when you start getting the Jeep starting to steer itself up the trail as you're trying to go one direction, the Jeep's wanting to go another, and that's probably again where some of my issues came in, is that I've got these forces fighting each other a little bit. So what I'm going to have to do is I measured everything. My drag link is about 32.5 inches long. My track bar is only about 26.5 inches long. And I know you were told there would be no math, but that's a difference of 6 inches. And so what is that going to mean? How am I going to have to fix this? Well, I can't really move my track bar out from the frame 6 inches. That's going to be well into the wheel well, and that's going to be in harm's way, or it's certainly going to be in the tire's way of harm. So what I'm going to have to do in order to fix this whole thing and get it really, really perfect, and I'm talking bulletproof perfect, is I would have to cut the axle mount off as well. I would have to cut it, bend it out, plate that back in, weld it back on the axle. That'd give me about a good 2 to 3 inches, maybe if I'm lucky, on the axle side, and then do the same thing, moving the mount outboard slightly because I had it basically centered right on the unibody frame where the mount was. I would have to move that outboard slightly, which is fine. You do have room to move it out a good 3 or 4 inches But I don't have 6, so I got to make that room up somewhere. Do I want to tackle this whole project like that? Not really. So I may try and get a little bit closer, and by just moving the track bar frame out, or on the frame side, move it out just a little bit. See if I can't get maybe 2 or 3 inches out of it, and that'll get me a little bit in the better direction. Now, the problem is that I've got bungs welded into that 1/4-inch wall DOM tubing that creates that track bar, that panhard bar. And so I would have to buy a new section of tubing, cut those bungs out, weld them back into the new tubing, and put my Heim joints and stuff back in there and get everything hooked back up. Is it a huge deal? Not necessarily. It's just a matter of grinding. It's just a lot of labor-intensive work. It's not very difficult. It's just very time-consuming. And, I'm all about instant gratification, guys. So, whether or not I actually end up going that far with things, I may just do the frame side of things, not mess with the axle side, get closer than I am right now, and call it good. After all, this is a trail-only vehicle. I do drive it to and from the trails, but, I don't have to worry about, dealing with all this stuff on a daily basis through a daily driver.
So let me interrupt you real quick. What is the problem with the 2 different links right now? What problem manifests itself? Is that bump steer that you're talking about?
I do have a little bit of bump steer. It's not like I hit a pothole and the wheel moves from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It's not very bad. It's noticeable, but it's not very bad. And so it's not like the Jeep goes careening out of control every time I hit a bump in the road, or when I change lanes and hit the turtles in between, the Jeep goes back and forth. It's manageable. It's almost not there.
Right.
So even though I have a 6-inch difference, the angles, and this is almost more important than the actual lengths of the length of the links themselves, is the angles of the links. The drag link and the track bar angles both have to match.
Right.
And if they don't match, and you've got one that's off, this grossly exaggerates that radius difference in the arc of the travel as those 2 links move with the axle's movement up and down.
Yeah, as you cycle through, right. So do you think that this length difference could have anything to do with additional pressure, additional torque on your unibody mount?
I do. I think that there's it's definitely a cause for concern. How much force is there? Well, I'd have to, put my engineering pants on and start doing some serious math, and I really don't want to get into that. I know that it's got to cause some difference in the forces applied over the course of the suspension travel to the unibody and to the steering components. How much of it is there? I don't know. And how much of that can I combat with just reinforcing the area? Again, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm sort of hoping for the best in this aspect, and that's where I'm trying to split the middle a little bit. And by reinforcing the area, by maybe adjusting the drag length or the panhard bar length a little bit, I can kind of start to nibble away at those forces being applied if there's that much involved.
Now, the panhard bar, that would also be the tie rod. That goes,
no, the panhard bar and track bar are the same thing. Okay. It's just the nomenclature of, you move it above the axle, the geometry changes. It depends on where you come from and, what kind of company you keep as to whether you call it a track bar.
Yeah, I thought I'd keep it straight, not only for our audience, but for myself. Now, you do not have a cross brace going from the, or do you, from the one side of the unibody to the other?
Well, I have no, not exactly. I have a steering box brace, but I will be adding a track bar brace. Now, I think I'd said back in episode maybe 129 or 130 that I had one with my Rugged Ridge double shear track bar setup that I had on here before. Now, I've since sold that system, but the guy only paid for the double shear mount and the track bar itself.
Right.
He didn't pay for the extra brace that came with it. So I'm going to modify that. It never fit right for me in the first place, so I never used it. It's brand spanking new. It's never been installed, but I'm going to make use of it. Now I'm going to have to do some modifications to it, and that'll be all fun and fine to kind of mess around with that. But there will be a brace that goes from the track bar mount on the driver's side to tie in to the unibody on the passenger side to give me just another level of reinforcement.
Well, I mean, that's like a no-brainer because, I mean, you don't have to be an engineer to figure out you're doubling the amounts, doubling the mounts, so you're splitting the, well, maybe not splitting the amount of pressure being put on it, but you're you're making that unibody stronger and tying those two ends together. So now some of that force can be moved over to the other unibody section, which certainly is not going to see as much force as where the track bar is attached to. But yeah, I think that'd be really good. I got to start beating on Iron Man Andy again, because my track bar that I got from him has a place for that cross brace, but he has yet to come out with a one that he wants to sell. I just want something. You know, it has to be perfect for Andy. I just want something to go across there. But yeah, I can see how that could make a huge difference. Also, I thought I'd mention, you're probably aware of this. I remember lifting up the TJ, and they actually have you drill really fairly sizable holes in the frame to bolt that track bar on. It's a heavy duty track bar that I have on the TJ. It came with the kit. And I think it came with the kit. Maybe I bought it extra. At any rate, you have to drill out pretty sizable holes and then put sleeves in there. So the bracket is actually they're not really, I don't think they're called, maybe they are called crushed sleeves, but they're very called
sleeves. Yeah,
they're very substantial.
They tie in one side of the frame to the other. Yeah, and so instead of think of it like an empty milk carton, if you will, and grabbing each side of it and then squeezing. If you had something in the middle there, you couldn't do that, and you're basically tying the two ends together, and you'd have to basically come past the force available to crush those crush sleeves to fold that area. And with a unibody, that it's very critical that you add those kind of things in when you're talking about cross members and stuff like that. The rough country long arm kits, they come with crush sleeves in their kits. Any of the weld on stuff, you really don't have to worry about that quite as much because you are tying in things from one side to the other. But in this case, it's because I'm not bolting anything. It's all weld on. Those don't. I'm not going to be able to utilize that as much. Now, the thought had crossed my mind to try and tie in those four mounting points of the original track bar mount to see if I can kind of incorporate that into this as well. Because welds can fail, but nuts and bolts, well, those aren't as likely to fail.
I'm thinking of a double system. I'm thinking of both.
Yeah, one extra, measure of security in keeping everything all tied together.
I mean, even if it starts wiggling around on you, at least it's not ratchet strap time, Yeah. So no, I'm just thinking from some of the stuff that I've learned and that I've seen. So good luck with that. Keep us up to date on it. So I was listening, and actually, maybe this is a little vain, Josh, but I was listening to one of our past podcasts, and it reminded me of something. I was listening to the podcast in which we spoke about my ban from a Jeep Cherokee 2014 Jeep Cherokee site, and just remind you guys, basically there was a very funny post put up on xjtalk.com about this 2014 Jeep Cherokee site called Jeep Cherokee Club, and jeepcherokeeclub.com in case you'd like to go visit. And they were the poster and then other members were making fun of some of the members there, and we didn't think that was kosher. Well, personally, I didn't see a big problem with it. Fortunately, some of the staff did and brought it to my attention, and actually mentioned that they thought it was only fair that we let these people know. First off, we were going to fix the post so that it wasn't making fun of the individuals. Making fun of the 2014 Cherokee's fine, I think, but we didn't want to make fun of the individuals because of how we run the site. So, hats off to the moderators on catching that, and I thought it was fair. I mean, I don't mind going and letting somebody know that, hey, we made a mistake, and we were making fun, and we're making fun of something that you probably like because you spent so much damn money on. So you're welcome to come over here and join in, or if there's something you'd like to call in on the voicemail and make your thoughts known, we'll be happy to play it. Just that kind of attitude. And Josh actually read more of the posts on there than I did, because I saw about 2 responses which weren't very nice and not in the same vein of what I had done in my original post. And because I got banned. And if you remember at the time, I had said I went over and was digging around on the site. Couldn't do much else because I couldn't get into the post. And I had noticed all of the mega amount of advertising and scrolled down to the bottom. And oh, lo and behold, it's those folks that are buying up a lot of the sites that we love and going from mom and pop, if you will, to a corporate-owned thing, the autoguide.com. So I had reached out to them and asked them for an interview, made sure that they were aware of the banning, which sounded to me to be more of a knee-jerk reaction by somebody that, I'll use Josh's words, got butthurt. And I still laugh at that. Oh, it's like somebody got their butt hurt. And, well, I just want to report, Josh, that after several... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was looking forward to an update. I'm figuring, okay, yeah, we've got to, by now I've heard back something from autoguide.com group about this, at least saying, well, hey, sorry about the ban, it's going to stay, or at least reaching out to you at least somewhat. So what did you hear from them?
Absolutely nothing. Not a damn thing.
Wow.
And I understand that's a little anticlimactic for this, 5-minute intro into it, but it just really, I'm sorry, it just pisses me off. I mean, I've been over backwards, I felt, to talk to these people in a nice, respectful way. I was not treated in a respectful way. I didn't hear anything back from the business that owns this website in just a courtesy, thanks, we're not interested. We don't think that this will be in our best interest, yada, yada, yada. Nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing.
I figured you, at the very least, you would have gotten a canned response from it because, and honestly, in Tony's defense, people, like I said, I did read all the posts and some of them were quite entertaining.
Yeah.
But just like Tony said, he did go very much out of his way to make sure that it was very explicitly explained that, we were not bashing any individuals. We were just simply kind of razzing the actual vehicle, not the owners.
It's Ford, Chevy. I mean, this happens to be both Jeeps, but it's the same thing. Ford, Chevys. There's all kinds of fun things that you guys have heard for many, many years. And it's the same thing we're doing here. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I personally don't care for the 2014 Cherokee, and I'll state it again. It shouldn't be called a Cherokee. That's the major problem I have with it. Great Jeep, keep making those things, sell them, 70,000, whatever, I don't care. Make money, be there to continue making parts for my XJ.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, just wanted to bring you guys up to date on that. I had forgotten about it, frankly, until I heard about it on the show. And after I heard about it, I went, son of a bitch, they have not responded to me.
Well, anybody out there within the sound of my voice knows anybody at autoguide.com group. I don't care if they're in the mailroom or not. Please reach out to them and see if you can't start pulling some strings for us and see if we can't at least get these guys on the horn, at least get them to cut us one of those canned responses, some sort of an email just saying, hey, thanks, but no thanks. Something along those lines would suffice. Without just, brushing us off altogether. We'd like to hear from them. You guys know somebody out there, let us know.
Absolutely. I mean, I after they offered to buy xjtalk.com, I had just started a post on Jeep sites being purchased. What did you guys think about it? And I think we did a show on it a while back.
Sure did.
Right after just about the same time that came out, I got another email from this guy from this company asking to purchase xjtalk.com again. And I said, told him what I told him before in a respectful way. No, thank you. And I said, hey, but you know what? This is interesting. We've been talking about this on our podcast. I gave him the link to the podcast and said, we would love to have you on the show and hear your side of it, because there's a bit of, and I think I told him, there's a bit of concern about corporations purchasing enthusiasts sites and the site losing a little bit of its allure, its appeal, because no longer is it somebody that's interested in the same thing you're interested in, unless you're interested in making money, because that's what it seems to be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making money, but I don't know, it just kind of taints it. It's like the girlfriend or the hooker. Maybe it's not like that.
You can't have your cake and eat it too? What's going on here?
That costs you an extra $5. So anyway, there we go. That's the update. I agree with Josh. If you know somebody that you can go over there and poke them. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to give them a fair shake on the show. I'm not here to beat anybody up. I got some I think, some decent, respectful questions to ask, and I think you guys would like to hear about it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys can reach out to us by our 24/7 voicemail line at 530-675-4102. You can remain anonymous if you'd like. Just call in, leave us a message, and let us know.
Hey, Josh and I were testing out the new the new desktop that I've built, and he noticed that I was drinking tea out of this mega glass.
Yeah.
That if you're watching the show, youtube.com/xjtalk, the live show, Thursdays at 10 p.m. Central Time, he's like, what the hell was that? Is that thing? Go ahead.
We're sitting here, kind of just testing, and I'm seeing the video feed from Tony, which I normally don't get to see during the live show, and he just very nonchalantly comes up and takes a little bit of a sip. And, this mug, this gargantuan glass mug just fills the screen. And I'm like, good Lord, dude, could you get any larger of a mug? And that thing had to have been about a 3-gallon, it's beyond a pitcher. I mean, the thing is just huge.
Well, I think maybe let's see if I get it over next to my head. Now I have a huge head like you, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe this isn't the best thing, but it does look much bigger when I get it closer to the camera. I just got kind of sort of fisheye. Okay, well, enough of that. People listening to the podcast are going, "What the hell are you people doing? I can't see this." Well, let's move on to our voicemails.
Hey, this is Tony.
And this is Josh from the XJ Talk Show. We want to thank you for calling our 24/7 voice line.
Yes, we do. Just leave your first name and your question or comment.
There's no guarantee, but we may play your message on the podcast.
Oh, and don't worry about keeping it clean. We'll take care of that.
Now it's your turn to speak at the beep.
Hey, this is Nicky G. And got a little fender bender with the Jeep this week.
No.
I was riding in a shopping cart in the Walmart parking lot. Yeah, I know one of you warned me about riding in the carts before, but they're there. They're there. You got to do it.
Yep.
And I smacked the front of the Jeep. And I broke the grill. So I ordered a new grill. I'm trying to install it. I've got a problem. The hamburgers are doing fine, but the hot dogs keep falling through the slots.
Jeez.
Raise your hand if you saw that one coming.
I did. I saw it coming.
All right, guys. I'll catch you later. You have a good one. Bye.
And now remember, I have to edit these things before we play them. So I had a really good laugh while I was editing this because it's just so silly. I love the really silly jokes like that.
Good job, Nicky G.
So as you guys remember, we had a really nice interview with Full Metal Badges. They had a Kickstarter project going on. And I say had because the Kickstarter was over. I think it was today that it was over, and they did not reach their goal. Sadly, Josh. And I say sadly because I'm sad because I wanted one of those damn badges. I spent $75 of the XJ Talk treasury to get a badge, and I'm sorry to say, for my Jeep. And I'm not going to get a badge, Josh.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, we wish those guys the best of luck. It is an awesome little startup, and hopefully, I mean, these guys have some very big goals, and I truly believe that one day they will hit them. Mm-hmm. The Kickstarter I don't think they got enough of the word out there soon enough. They got on the show kind of late in the game. Wish we could have gotten them on sooner. Maybe that could have helped things or changed things altogether. I don't know. But nonetheless, they have moved things over to an Etsy store. If you guys don't know about Etsy, it's all about guys who are doing this exact kind of stuff. Fabricators out of their garage, artists and whatnot, people who are creating crafts and things, and don't have really any other outlet online that has a mass appeal. And Etsy is really growing by leaps and bounds for people just like that. So
I did not know that's what that was. That was whenever that was up there, I just thought it was another one of those fly-by-night websites. Hey, let me read to you what they put up on Facebook here real quick.
Yeah, please.
So from the Full Metal Badges Facebook page, it says, our Kickstarter flamed out, but we're small, growing, and not to be defeated. The original badass rated badge is for sale in our freshly built Etsy store. That's ESTY. And he continues, all proceeds will be funneled into production of our next design. So weigh in. Should it be Zombie Stomper, In the Dirt We Trust, Biohazard, or Skull. And, of course, you can see those there on that Etsy page. And actually, Chris Ford, the same guy that we interviewed, he called in and left us a little voicemail, which I'd like to play for you right now.
Hey, it's Chris Ford from Full Metal Badges. We didn't make our Kickstarter funding goal, but we wanted to let everyone know that our badges are available, or at least the badass rated one is, right now on Etsy. Just go to etsy.com and search Full Metal Badges. World domination will apparently take a little bit longer, but we're starting off with our first badge, and everything we make off of that badge will pour into a second badge and a third badge and a fourth badge, and who knows, maybe even a super awesome badass rated hoodie sweatshirt. So thanks for everyone's support out there at XJ Talk.
And we want to thank you, Chris. That's great. And that's a great attitude to have. I think Chris actually said this in the interview. I think they didn't really count on, I think they were counting on social media, and they didn't realize that it was going to be such an uphill battle to get that information out. I think they were hitting forums first, and then the admins and moderators were saying, hey, hold on there, soldier. You can't just advertise for free. And
right.
They're going, but we're broke.
Yeah, no, exactly. And guys, if you missed the interview, please go back and check that out. It's really a good interview. And these things are amazing. I don't have one in my hands. I'm only going off of what I know about metallurgy and machining and forging and everything else like this, like that. And these things are absolutely pure beef. It's like, you're not going to put something made of tinfoil on your Jeep. These things are true beef, and really, it's just a great little company that they're trying to get up and going, and they're doing things the right way. This isn't some fly by night. This isn't some little piece of crap that you're going to stick on the side of your Jeep. They're doing everything the right way, and really that's what it's all about. Episode 130 is where the interview is. Please go check them out, and please go check out their Etsy store. It's etsy.com/shop/Full Metal Badges. Or just go to etsy.com and type in Full Metal Badges, and you can see all their works of art and the stuff that you could potentially get to put on your own Jeep.
Yeah, and we hope to hear back from Chris and his partner really soon, and some good positive news about where we can buy any of these we like, and maybe even that XJ Talk badge that he was so kind to design online for me. Well, we got a couple of more voicemails. Let's get to them.
Hey, this is Nikki G. I just want to grill joke. I know it was a stinker, but I haven't been myself since the incident. Which, by the way, I tried, and
what incident?
Too well. Yeah, the people in Walmart didn't appreciate it either.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
All right, gentlemen, I'll catch you later. Yeah.
You kind of chopped there on the incident. I don't know what the incident was.
I don't know what the incident was either. You're getting banned from websites, and I bet Nikki G's getting banned from Walmart.
All right, here's another our final Nikki G for the evening.
Hey, this is Nikki G. Just caught the show, and I say thanks to John for the tech portion. It's amazing that with the right equipment, you can have a conversation with somebody 1,000 miles away, but yet I cannot hear clearly the girl at the Taco Bell drive-thru who's only 20 feet away from me. I want to thank Jesse Ryder for his interview. I thought it was very interesting, and I'll have to listen to it again. I didn't catch it. He was running stock transmission in it, which transmission he had. Just curious.
Good question.
Chroma key background. I'm assuming it's the mucus green. So I think Josh should wear a shirt that's the same color as his background. This way it'll just be a floating head sitting there. And maybe put like a mask and a hat on, and we'll just see a set of headphones floating, or maybe put some sunglasses on. We'll just see some floating sunglasses and headphones. Just take some medication that's not prescribed to you, and let your imagination run wild. Have fun with it. All right, gentlemen, I will chat later. Guys, have a good one. Bye.
You know, it's funny, Josh, because I think we actually made that joke. They made that joke when we were off the air about you should wear a green shirt and just be a floating head.
Head thing, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm about to play around with that one of these days. We'll see.
Maybe a special Halloween episode.
Mm.
So here's a special treat that we got from Zach, one of these XJ Talk members and XJ Talk Show listeners that has taken us up on sitting in that third seat. Don't forget to clean it off because the lady that does it doesn't do a very good job. But anyway, here he is, and I think you'll get a kick out of this one.
This is Zach, XJ1993. I'm on the scenes reporting for the XJ Talk Show, and I'm actually sitting in a 2014 Jeep Cherokee. It's actually not bad.
Oh,
the seat's comfy. What? Everything's like where you can reach it. All the buttons are nice. There's some yeah, it's well built. There's a massive screen so that you can see what you're going to run over when you're backing up. There's this little fancy knob that has no mechanical connection to anything that has to do with the four-wheel drive system. I don't even think the steering wheel's attached to anything. There's, some good stuff like that. The buttons aren't fiddly. There's this fancy door handles and everything. Shift knobs and stuff. Parking brake. There's no actual one you pull. It's just a little button that you push. It's good though. It's roomy in here. It's comfortable. I've got headspace. This particular one has a strong smell of paint, but we're not going to go into that.
The back seat's pretty roomy.
Yeah, it looks like there's lots of room in the back seat. There's some good cargo room. There's lots of different switches and USB ports and little pen holdy places, and you can plug in an SD card. It's actually pretty cool. I still don't think they should have called it the Cherokee, but that's okay. The lady at the dealership disagrees. Anyway, so y'all have a good week, and remember to keep it Jeep.
Now that was good, but I would have liked to have heard the interview with the lady at the Jeep place.
The dealership. Yeah, definitely. Stick a microphone in her face next time. Yeah, I'd like to hear her reasons as to why she thought the Cherokee would be an apt name for that vehicle. So, but Zach, good job, buddy. That is awesome. Fantastic work on that submission right there. Keep those coming. Hopefully we'll hear more from Zach, and hopefully we'll hear from you guys as well, doing some stuff like in the field reporting like Zach just did. And please give us a call. You can hit that speak pipe button on the website. It's a little tab right there on the right-hand side as you log on, or you can give our 24/7 voicemail line a call. Again, that number is 530-675-4102, or send us an email to interviews@xjtalkshow.com. We'd love to get you guys on the air.
Yep, you can send us an email to that interviews@xjtalkshow.com and let us know that you would like to be able to submit things to us to be played on the show, and we will set you up a little Dropbox entry point so that you can get on there and upload things to us, just like Zach did. And Zach actually contacted us on that email, and we got him set up, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. There's his first interview. It sounded great. I thought he did a great job with that. And
yeah, very good.
And I can see this snowballing into perhaps being at least harassed by the police because you're sticking an audio recorder with a dead kitten, which is like this little fuzzy thing that knocks down the air noise, into some lady's face going, why did you call it a Cherokee? XJ owners want to know why. Great job. So anyway, we did not have one last week, but we got it this week, guys. The All Things Wrangler segment with Rob. And what was it, Josh? What was he going to talk about?
It's tops for topless.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I remember saying that sounds counterproductive to me.
Let them go topless.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Rob from CoolGuyStuff.tv, and you are here with another segment of All Things Wrangler. So before I get into any of that stuff, I just want to take a few moments to thank everybody that has been checking out my site, CoolGuyStuff.tv, lately. Yesterday, I hit record-breaking numbers, and I totally appreciate it. I know a lot of that comes from the Jeep community. So again, I just want to give you guys a good thank you, and I appreciate it. And please keep checking out the site. Now, summertime has arrived. I live in Southern California, so it's nothing but blue skies and sunshine for me. What I like to do as a Jeep owner this time of year is I like to take my doors off. I like to take my top off. I like to put them away and not even look at them until at least early October. It's a fun time of year to be a Jeep owner in Southern California. That being said, there are probably a total of 8, maybe 10 days out of the summer where it is just on fire, blistering hot. And you definitely are miserable if that sun is beating down on you all the time. That being said, there's a whole class of tops out there called the summer top. And what the summer top is that is your bikini top, that's your safari top, that's your extended mesh top. There's a company that makes a product called Jeep Lid that will be in the market fairly soon. I would consider that a summer top. Basically anything that comes on and off easy, and it's low maintenance, low cost. So from there, I started looking into the options. The bikini top, that's cool, for 2 doors, that kind of thing. I have the 4-door body style, so I want that top to extend all the way back past my rear doors. So for me, it was really about safari top, extended mesh top. Those are my choices. I went with the mesh top because I love the sunshine. So regardless of how hot it is, I just want to take the edge off of that heat. I don't necessarily want to block it out altogether. So I went with the extended mesh top. It's made by Smittybilt, and it's manufactured out of a durable UV-treated material. It's heavy-duty nylon webbing with the reinforced cross-stitching, which makes it kind of hold its shape and not get all nasty and stretched out. The straps on it, I actually was very impressed with. It's a good quality strap. The only thing I didn't necessarily like were the buckles were plastic. There's 2 places where you hook it in. And you hook it into a hole that's just kind of on the Jeep that's already pre-existing. And it fits nice, but it's plastic, and with sun and all that other junk, it's going to break one day, So I kind of would have rather seen something a little better than that, but can't complain up to this point. The thing was only $60 retail. That being said, though, it does make me think, why do all manufacturers make their stuff to fit with the existing plastic upper door jams in the vehicle? When I take my doors off, I'm not going to leave the jams in there. That's ridiculous. One of the beautiful things is that's why it all comes off to begin with. Somebody make a freaking thing that goes right to the roll bar and not the stupid door jam. Anyways, I digress. Let me get back to this. 60 SPF. Some of you fair-skinned country folk might appreciate that sunblock. It's a good rating, actually. If you look at the stuff you really put on your body, it's actually probably a lot lower than that. So 60 SPF is a very good rating for sunblock, and you don't have to rub anything in, which is nice. Other than that, the strapping system. Now, when I didn't like where they put the strap on one of the towards the end, one of the tie downs, again, because of that upper jam thing that I was complaining about a second ago. So what I did is I just rerouted it. Like every Jeep guy in the world, we know how to modify anything that we put our hands on. So I went ahead and rerouted it. I just wrapped it cleanly around the roll bar, hooked it in with the speaker thing, blah, blah, blah. It looks great. It's tight. It doesn't move. It doesn't make any noise. Now, before I forget, you do have to buy something called a header bar. What the header bar is your summer top will snap into the header bar. The header bar will lock down on the car by the windshield, keeps it all secure up there. Don't try to put one of these on without it, because it will not work. The header bar, I think it retails for about $40. So if you're paying full retail for this, I think the mesh top retailed for $60, the header bar retailed for $40. You're $100 in on that. If you go on within, I don't know how long they're going to keep having it. I think it's just through May. 4 Wheel Parts was offering a $20 instant rebate on that header bar, so it's $20 off, which is 50%, pretty good savings. you can go on, get your own summer top, your header bar and your mesh extended top for under $100 today at forwardparts.com. That's where I got mine. I love it. So until next week, guys, check me out on coolguystuff.tv, Twitter at xrobspencerx, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Rob. And if you're a Jeep Wrangler owner, you know that you appreciate those things as much as I do, because I always find those things interesting. I can relate back to the TJ that we have. And
yeah, absolutely. I wish I could go topless. You guys definitely don't want to see that. I do have a sunroof in my Cherokee, so it's the next best thing, I guess.
I certainly can see how going out on the trail would be a lot of fun, especially being able to see what you're doing so much better than sitting in with the tinted windows and the windows rolled up and the AC blasting. And
No. There's none of that. Well, at least out here in the Northwest anyways. I do know guys who do that, though, and I kind of make fun of them a little bit. It's like, come on, man, you're out here in the woods and out on the trails and everything. It's, out in the great outdoors. Roll the windows down, take the doors off, if nothing else. Get that fresh country air in there.
Well, I'll tell you, here in Houston, where the summer times is a blast furnace,
yeah,
I was doing a little bitching and making fun of a gentleman off of XJ Talk. It's Argonard, or his name is Rini. Went wheeling with him, and it just pissed me off every time we came to something that was even a moderate drop or climb. He had to stop, get out, and walk over there. And I'm sitting in there with my windows rolled up, AC blasting, and going, so I got to get out. I guess I got to get out. And I'd walk over there, and I'd get hot.
Sweaty, yeah.
Go back, get back in there. So, yeah, I do like my AC. So I think it's a little different there in the Northwest than it is down here.
No, absolutely. Now, we do get some hot trail days nonetheless, but not so bad that where I couldn't do it without AC, that sort of thing.
Hey, Josh, good news. We got some reviews.
Hey, fantastic. We got some great reviews, too, from Stitcher and iTunes as well. Stitcher Radio, iTunes.com. Guys, we are on both. You can check out virtually the entire podcast archive over on either Stitcher Radio or on iTunes. And we ask you guys to go ahead and leave us some reviews, and we'll take what we can get. And we encourage you guys to leave a 5-star review. And by all means, please leave us a comment. And one of them left us a comment. He, gave us a 5-star review and left one word for each star. And this guy, he says, great podcast. It's Chris Reck. And he says, awesome podcast for any Jeep owner.
It's actually AY, but I think it's any. You see that?
I guess that would be for any Jeep
that was my pirate joke that I was making earlier before we started recording.
Oh, okay. See that?
Yeah.
Right off the top of my head. Yeah.
It's a screen grab, so it's kind of hard to read. And hey, big shout out to Dean Murray. He also gave us a review here. He gave us a 5-star on iTunes. Says, fantastic show. I highly suggest this show to anyone with a Jeep Cherokee or a Jeep in general, as many of the things discussed apply to all Jeep owners. These two guys are funny, informative, friendly, and entertaining. Turn on, tune in, and drop out. Thanks a lot, Dean. We really appreciate it.
Kind words, Dean. Very much appreciated.
I never thought I was more than one thing. To find out that I'm two things, that's amazing. Or maybe I'm all of those, Josh. Maybe you weren't included at all.
No, I'm not here. I'm just a floating face in the screen.
You're just here to look pretty. It's kind of a rolling joke that we have here. Hey, speaking of reviews and stuff, I got a bit of a wake up call, almost literally, since it happened this morning on Twitter. I don't know exactly what the post was up on Twitter, but Tim Cooper on Twitter, you may know him as UK Jeeper, came in and started a bit of a how can I put this? I don't want to be disrespectful. He was giving us some negative feedback. I was going to say whine fest, but I don't want to discourage anybody from letting us know about these things, because it's important. We're Josh and I have said it many times, we're just a couple of guys with Jeeps, and we're sitting here messing around like a couple immature kids doing a show. So But we would like to be successful at it, and to that end, we'd like to know what you guys feel. And I thought it was important to talk about this simply because sometimes people don't feel comfortable mentioning what they do or don't like, and then when one person steps up to the plate and does it, then they go, well, yeah, that does bother me, or no, I think that's wrong. I like that. It encourages more participation from the group, and we are a group. It's not just me and Josh. It's not just me, Josh, and the contributors. It's everybody here. It's a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Tim Cooper, his post was, and I'm gonna paraphrase this because it's 140 characters, and I believe I got the meaning from those 140 characters based on the rather lengthy conversation we had on Twitter. He says the XJ Talk Show is only about 20 minutes long. If you cut out the Honda, Josh's subconscious, the 2014 Cherokee bashing, and the Amazon self-promoting padding, it would only be about 20 minutes long, and I think that's about how much he listens to from the fast forwarding that he's doing. And I understand that. I mean, if you listen to anything with from Leo Laporte, if Leo's talking, that's the time to fast forward because it's a commercial that he's pontificating for the next 5 minutes on. And God bless him. I understand making money, and I think that's great. But it's nothing I'm going to buy. I don't need a VPN solution, and I'd like to get back to what Steve Gibson's talking about on Security Now. At any rate, I digress. So that's kind of my bitch session about it. But I understand Leo needs to make money so that those shows can be on, and some people need to listen to those commercials. And this is kind of what I told Tim in Twitter. It's like, I understand. I mean, I started with the padding, the Amazon, and I told him we get about $20-$50, and that helps pay for some of the Libsyn cost that I think we pay like $30 a month for, and the internet connection here is about $75, and that's just mine. That's not Josh's. And I even pointed this out to Tim. Josh doesn't take any of this money that we get. It's all going towards this side of it so that we can just do this. And I asked him point blank, do you want us just to pay for all this stuff out of our pocket and do a podcast and not have any kind of income coming in? And he kind of relented. He says, well, I guess I can give you that on the Amazon stuff. But he wanted to know, he continued with, are you sponsored by Honda? Or are you sponsored by the 2014 Jeep Cherokee? Which I think is the crux of what his issue was, is that the Honda isn't Jeep related. Well, I mean, Denver D1 said it perfectly.
It's a Jeep podcast, fellas.
So actually, the Honda's your side of things, and my feelings on it, Josh. But why are we talking about Hondas?
Well, look, I was talking a little bit about this off air, and the way I put it was like this. Tony and I could cut all personal aspects of this show out altogether, and it would be very cut and dry. And that might be what some people are looking for. Tony and I are very personal people. We've got the gift of gab. We like to talk. And obviously, when something as big as a car theft happens in one's life, you tend to bring it up a little bit. And I figured it was at least worth mentioning. Now, after I mentioned it, I didn't realize quite exactly what kind of a snowball effect it would have. And both the Amazon.com segment and my Honda saga have turned into this huge inside joke on xjtalk.com. And on a weekly basis, I get razzed, but with a Bane mask joke here, a Batman joke there, crotchless panties over here. Hey, Josh, you still got your Honda? That sort of thing. And it's a riot. We have a lot of fun with it. And honestly, and that's really what this podcast from day one has been all about, is having some fun. We are just, we are Jeep enthusiasts. We are off-road enthusiasts and stuff like that. But we are also just a regular guy like, whoever's listening to this right now, like you, Tim. I'm sure you have something in your own life that other people may not be interested in, but you go ahead and talk about it because it's conversation. And that's a lot of what this is conversation. Now, we have added quite a bit of tech to the show over the last year by adding 3 other tech segments to the show altogether. We have other contributors that are adding, and in fact, one hopefully that will be adding some more more Jeep stuff as the weeks and months go on with like Zach here just recently. And that's really what it's all about. We're growing the show. If Tony and I were to step back from this altogether, it would be a different show altogether. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But nonetheless, I appreciate the constructive criticism. And that's why a little bit I took in the chit chat segment tonight. I took a little bit more of a techie approach to things by really going over some math, some numbers in a Jeep tips type of way, discussing my track bar issues that I'm having. And I know that the tech aspect of the show is a very large draw. It's what a lot of people are coming for. But there's also a very large draw for the personal aspect of things, because we, like Tony was saying, we're almost like a family. We're a group here. And without some sort of personal involvement in that, without a personal connection, we're just a couple of guys that you have no idea who they are, what they do, or anything like that, talking behind a mic. And honestly, my personal opinion is that a lot of people, I think, would lose interest in that without some degree of personal connection to the hosts of a show.
Yeah, I think it makes it more fun. You get to know people on the air, and you do, but you really don't. You have an opportunity to get to know them better on xjtalk.com, on Twitter, on Facebook, through YouTube. But I think for me personally, that's what interests me. And I enjoy hearing about what's going on with Josh. I can't believe his Honda got stolen twice. I mean, that's insane.
Just those right there, those words right there, they put a smile on my face. I laugh about it. And I know there's got to be some people out there right now listening to this podcast that are just chuckling. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's happened to me.
Josh's car got stolen twice in 5 months. It's funny. It really is. It's a tragic event. But since it's happened to me, a guy that you guys now know, it's funny because we've created this, saga and this drama about it in the show, and it's turned into this joke. And really just having fun with stuff like that is what this is all about.
And it was like the Amazon segment too. I don't want to get into too much of explaining why this is okay for us to do the show this way. The important thing was, I mean, we it's our baby, so we kind of do want to defend it. But I just thought it was important to point out that we have an individual that has expressed some concerns about the direction of the show, and have, now that somebody has broken that ice. I mean, prior to this, that we got a 4-star review. That was the the negative side of things. And Tim has mentioned before about the KL bashing, and that's enough. And I think there was one other person, but from everybody else that I've heard from, the KL bashing has been fun, or they've piled on to it. So
yeah, exactly.
So we've kind of continued with it. I think we scaled it back a little bit.
Sure,
because we were really going at it pretty heavy at first.
It was pretty much every show.
Well, I just hate it so much. The name shouldn't be that name. But anyway, so I thought it would be good. I spoke with Josh and said, let's get this on the show. We may get what we've been asking for, more feedback, and if we can modify things that mesh well with the majority of the people, then we probably will modify things to get a bigger audience, more participation from more people, making the show more interesting, and probably where we can have what Josh and I want, a whole hour-long show where we just take calls. And we need people watching the show for that. So it's helpful, and I understand you may be the only person with that opinion. Like maybe Tim is the only person with the opinion on the Amazon segment, or the negative image of the Amazon segment and the KL bashing. But he was brave enough to stand up and say, I don't like this. I'm skipping over this. And I'll point out the positive on this. He cares enough about listening to the show that he'd like to have something longer than 20 minutes to listen to, is really the point of this.
And really, I'm going to take this one step further and just be like, it's opening the door for constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And we've always, I mean, from the day that I've joined the show, asked you guys, pleaded to you guys, please let us know what you guys think of the show. Without that feedback, without feedback like Tim's feedback right here, Tony and I just kind of blindly go about this because we are not professionals. Like we've said many times before, just a couple of knuckleheads with some microphones and some Jeeps.
Yep.
It's really nothing more than that. So without your guys' feedback and criticism, whether it's positive or negative, it's constructive nonetheless. And even if we don't, change this format of the show to one person's likes, we take it into consideration. Like Tim's earlier comments about the KL bashing, we did dial it back a little bit. Did we cut it off altogether? No, we dialed it back. We'll take those constructive criticisms into consideration and alter the show as necessary. We are trying to make everybody happy. We're not going to be able to please everybody all the time, and I'm sure there's some KL owners out there that we've royally pissed off, but that's bound to happen.
Well,
the fact of the matter is, guys, is we want to hear from you. If you'd like to tell us, you do have your own constructive criticism, please let us know. If you want to stay anonymous, that's fine. Leave that voicemail on our voicemail line, 530-675-4102. If you've, got a response to Tim's criticism, by all means, we'd like to hear that as well. 530-675-4102. We hope to hear from you guys. Please let us know what you think.
Yeah, and also, too, I know that there are some places that you still don't have free long-distance calling, and I'm not sure if Tim is actually in Great Britain or not. But SpeakPipe is available worldwide. So anybody with a decent internet connection, it doesn't quite require too much to record voice over the internet now. You can go to xjtalk.com. You look over there on, xjtalkshow.com. You look over there on the right-hand side. You'll see a little tab that you can click on, and that little tab is the SpeakPipe, and you can just click on the little thing, little button that's on that thing that pops out. And as long as you got a microphone on your computer, many laptops have microphones built into them these days. You can use that to record your comments, and we'll get them here on the show, and love to hear from you.
Absolutely, guys.
So we have another Radio Comtech from John, Prerunner 1982. This is about how to get your ham license, and hats off to John for doing these things.
Yeah, good topic, John. Thanks.
This is Radio Comtech with my favorite Jeeper, John Prerunner 1982.
This is John, Prerunner 1982, and today I'm going to tell you how to get your amateur radio license. The first thing you're going to want to do is to find a local club, and to do that you can go to arrl.org. That's the Amateur Radio Relay League, and it's a website that contains a lot of valuable information even for experienced ham radio operators. But they have a search there that you can search for clubs in your area. You can also go to Google and search for Amateur Radio Club or Amateur Radio Society and your city and state. Once you've found some clubs in your area, check out their websites. Some clubs may offer a class either once or twice a year, maybe a little more often than that. Could be a one-day cram session, or it could be a couple hours one night a week for 5 or 6 weeks. So if you don't feel comfortable studying on your own, you can look into those classes. There will be an additional charge for those, though, to cover the study material. Also look at their calendar for test dates. They may do it once a month or once every other month. Also, if you take the class, there'll likely be a test at the end of that class as well. Pick a date, probably a month or two out, depending on what level of license you're looking to get, and stick to that date. Set the date and stick to it. If you just study and say you'll pick the date later, you'll likely not get around to it. You'll keep putting it off. You'll study a little bit here, a little bit there, but you won't really get into it, and you'll probably never get around to taking the test. So set the date, stick to it. It gives you a goal to work towards, and you can kind of schedule your study time around that and know how long you have to study the material. Speaking of study material, there are books available such as ARRL Ham License Study Guide, Ham Radio for Dummies, and various study guides by Gordon West. They usually range $30 to $40. However, there are free options as well. I downloaded my study guides from www.kb6nu.com/tech-manual. You'll need to decide what level of class you want to obtain. If you want to go all the way to the top with an extra class, you'll still have to study and test for the tech and the general. If you want to get your general, you'll still have to take the tech test as well. So you're going to want to start studying at the lowest and work your way up. You can take all three tests in one test setting, though. The way that I studied, I read through the entire study guide once, read through it again, and this time I wrote down the areas that I thought I would have problems remembering. And then after that, I read through it a few more times. And then I took practice tests. And there are a couple websites you can do that on. QRZ.com, eham.net, and hamexam.org are just a couple that I used. Once you get a 90 or above consistently, then you can move up to studying for the next class. When test date rolls around and you're ready to take that test, you're going to want to bring a copy of your photo ID, the original photo ID, and if you're already a licensed amateur but you're wanting to upgrade, you're going to want to bring a copy of your amateur radio license as well. Now, to pass the test, you're going to have to answer 26 out of 35 questions, or 74.2%, and that applies to the tech and the general. The extra class is 50 questions. And once you have passed that test, you'll receive a CSCE, or Certificate of Successful Completion of Examination. In approximately 7 to 10 days, maybe a little bit longer depending on how backlogged the FCC is, your call sign will appear on the FCC database. And then a few days later, you'll get the hard copy in the mail. But as soon as your call sign appears on FCC database, you can start using the radio. When you get your amateur radio license, you'll be in good company. Well, besides myself and Motoroy, how about WB6ACU, you know him better as Joe Walsh, N6YOS, Priscilla Presley, FO5GJ, Marlon Brando, KB2GSD, Walter Cronkite, and even the lead singer of your favorite boy band. That's right, we know about that NSYNC poster on your closet door, KG4UYY, Lance Bass. Among others, there's all sorts of people, from founders of famous companies, famous athletes, singers, TV personalities, you name it. Amateur radio is everywhere. That pretty much sums up the process for getting your amateur radio license. But if you have any questions or you need any help getting your license, send me an email to prerunner1982@yahoo.com, and there'll be a link to a write-up I did on XJ Talk in the show notes for this episode. This is John.
Well, great job. I really appreciate that, John. Now, he was going through those people, and there was actually a post up on xjtalk.com, and I thought it was really interesting that Gary Shandling, the comedian.
Oh, wow, there's a name from the past.
Yeah, he is an amateur radio operator. I was really surprised.
I'll be darned. Yeah, who'd have thunk?
Yeah,
lots of famous people out there are ham operators. Well, John, tons of good information right there. Seriously, one of the best submissions yet to date. Great info about how just the average Joe can go out there and get their ham radio license and start connecting with people and maybe even celebrities all over the world.
Now, I mentioned Tim and his criticism of the show earlier. I thought I would add, because I specifically mentioned that we are doing more tech segments, and Josh and I are talking less. Not this episode, because we're running long, but we are doing more tech, and one of the new tech segments is the Radiocom Tech, and John has been a very large portion, if not the entire portion of that. And I mentioned to him about the Radiocom Tech. I was a little concerned because as a ham radio operator, it's very interesting to me, and I like it, but I can see how if you're not really into the electronics and communication side of things, it could be a bit tedious and boring. Tim said, no, that's great. Communications are something that you use whenever you're off-road in disaster situations, which you may be using your Jeep in, and he liked that aspect of it. So that was a thumbs up for you, John.
Way cool. Yeah, it can all be a matter of life and death, and a matter of communication can get you out of that situation.
Well, Josh, I don't know about you, but I think that was a pretty damn good show.
Yeah, no, lots of cool stuff there. Plenty of tech and, even some funny as well. And, we didn't do too much bashing this episode, so can't complain too much, I guess.
We'll work on that for next time.
Yep. Hey, guys, I want to reach out and give a plug to, just about anyone, in fact, because you can do an interview. If you've got a Jeep story to tell and maybe a recent wheeling trip that you were quite proud of, we'd like to hear about it. And I'd like to get you on the show for an interview. Recently here, rebroadcast an interview with PRC Jeeper, Patrick, and his Mexican adventure with his own Jeep, which is actually one of my favorite interviews of all time. Really love that. And Tony, thank you for rebroadcasting that this week. Or actually, it was last week if you guys are listening to the podcast. But nonetheless, guys, if you've got a Jeep story, we'd like to hear about it. We'd like to hear from you. Also like to plug Hidden Wounds XJ. Please visit the Hidden Wounds XJ Facebook page. Please friend them and pick up some of their stickers or T-shirts to help support the cause. Head over to the Facebook page of Hidden Wounds XJ or hiddenwoundsxj.com.
Hey, do me a favor. I started sending friends requests. I know, a day late, dollar short, for full metal badges on their Facebook page, and there was quite a few people took me up on it. I would like to get back to what I was saying. Do me a favor. Go over to Full Metal Badges on Facebook, friend them, like their page, and give them a little shot in the arm, a little boost to let them know that their idea is a good one and you'd like to see more of it. I know I do. I'd like to get one on my Jeep. So just do a little search there on Facebook, Full Metal Badge. I think it's just Full Metal Badge, isn't it, Josh?
Full Metal Badges is what they are on the Etsy page. I'm going to assume that it's the same over on the on everything else, because they have Full Metal Badges pretty much on everything as far as the Twitter, their Instagram. I know they might even have an Instagram. Who knows? These guys are everywhere. They certainly have their bases covered. So reach out to Full Metal Badges, guys. Just a quick search and you will be able to find them. And speaking of finding us, finding things, you can find us over on Facebook as well. Please head over to facebook.com and find us at the XJ Talk over there. We are on Twitter as well, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn.com, iTunes, YouTube, of course, for the live show every Thursday, 10 p.m. Central. And, of course, you guys cannot forget about xjtalk.com. It's why we're here. And if you'd like to get the entire show archive at your fingertips, it's over at xjtalkshow.com. Clear back to episode number 1.
Exactly. You guys have a great Jeep week. Thanks for being here.
We'll see you next time.
And there you have it. As I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast tonight, Josh had a graduation to go to, so we had to record this show last night. I'm glad that Josh was able to record the show, and my God, when we don't have to start at 10 o'clock, we really are late. I don't think we started till about 10:47 Central Time, and we got finished up pretty late, too. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning, my time. Whenever we finally wrapped up, because we talk a little bit after the show. Always, it's hard for us to get on and just talk during the show. We talk a little bit before, talk a little bit after. So hopefully you guys don't mind showing up for a pre-recorded show. At least it wasn't done weeks ago. It was just done last night, and I think for a good reason. Josh didn't share who the graduation was for. But those things are always important to go to and be a part of. Get out from behind the computer, get outside and interface with those fellow human beings. So pretty good turnout in the chat room tonight. I want to thank Hidden Wounds XJ for being there, Dean Murray, 4-liter Jeep, and let's see, I think that was. Just looking back here real quick to see if I missed anybody. That's everybody that chatted up in the comment section. So just remind you, we do have the YouTube live event every Thursday, 10 p.m. Central Time. Come join us. Come join in on the fun in the comments area and interact with your fellow XJ Talk Show viewers. So thanks again for showing up. We'll see you next week, 10 p.m. Thursday, Central Time. And don't forget to catch the video and the audio podcast on Monday at midnight.